Welcome back to NT Coins World, the ultimate destination for coin enthusiasts and collectors. Today we're diving into the world of rare and valuable top 4 $1 coins, starting with the 2007 George Washington Presidential Golden Dollar coin, representing the very first president of the United States, George Washington, who served from 1789 to 1797. Top 4 2007 George Washington Presidential Golden Dollar coin, 1789 to 1797 and 2007. D$1 James Madison, Satin Finish. Position AMS coin 1809 to 1817 and 2007 Thomas Jefferson Presidential $1 coin 1801 to 1809 and 2001. D Sacagawea dollar coin. This coin is not only a collectible piece, but also a tangible connection to American history and the presidential dollar series. 2007 George Washington Presidential Golden Dollar coin, 1789 to 1797. Fine condition. At first glance, this coin may appear like many other modern dollar issues, but its story and desirability stretch far beyond face value. Let's start with the historical context. The Presidential $1 coin program was authorized by Congress in 2005, with the vision of commemorating the leaders who shaped the nation. It was a radical departure from older dollar coin issues, Sacagawea, Eisenhower, and Susan B. Anthony, because instead of mythic representations or symbolic figures, this series put America's presidents front and center, one at a time, in strict historical order. George Washington, the first in that noble procession, needed no introduction. His name alone carries weight in American memory. Serving from 1789 to 1797, Washington was not only the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army during the Revolutionary War, but also the unifying leader who helped establish democratic governance at a time when the young republic could have faltered. His presidency set countless precedents: the formation of a cabinet, a peaceful transfer of power, and the standard for civic dignity that has echoed through American leadership ever since. Now imagine honoring that legacy in coin form, a tangible, portable tribute that millions of people could hold. That was the heart of the Presidential $1 program. Moving on to the design features of the 2007 George Washington dollar. The obverse, front, of the coin presents a dignified portrait of George Washington facing forward. It's a refined, realistic rendering, not a cartoonish or stylized representation, that captures both the stoicism and the humanity of this towering figure. Around the portrait, inscribed are his name, George Washington, the years of his presidency 1789 to 1797, and the word president. Unlike earlier dollar coins that featured symbolic abstractions or generic motifs, this coin places Washington firmly and proudly at center stage. The reverse side, uniform for all presidential dollars, showcases a striking rendition of the Statue of Liberty, with the inscription United States of America, the denomination in words $1, and the mottos In God We Trust and E Pluribus Unum. The choice of the Statue of Liberty was deliberate, a symbol of enduring freedom, national unity, and the values that all presidents were meant to uphold. What truly sets this piece apart for collectors is its fine condition. Many presidential dollars were released into general circulation, making circulated examples common. But a fine condition specimen, where details are crisp, surfaces show minimal wear, and luster remains intact, is something that discerning collectors value highly. In numismatic grading terms, a fine condition means that wear is noticeable but not distracting. Key design elements like Washington's hair strands, coat details, and the Statue of Liberty's torch and robes are still clearly defined. For collectors today, finding a presidential dollar in fine or better condition can be like discovering a hidden gem in everyday pocket change. Turning to mintage figures, the 2007 George Washington dollar was struck in high numbers, as was typical for this program. It was minted at multiple facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, with D mint mark, and millions were released into circulation and collector sets. Despite the large mintage, many reached circulation in worn condition, which drives attention toward the higher-grade examples that remain well-preserved. Now, let's talk about market value. Because presidential dollars are modern and were minted in large quantities, average condition pieces often trade close to face value. around $1 to $2. But the narrative changes when you look at finer condition specimens. A 2007 George Washington dollar in fine condition can command a modest premium, typically in the $3 to $8 range depending on eye appeal, luster, and market interest. Higher graded examples, extremely fine, uncirculated, or certified by third-party grading services, can reach into double-digit values. Remember, condition drives value more than scarcity here. And since this coin kicks off one of the most popular modern series, collector demand remains steady, especially from those completing full presidential sets. Speaking of demand, let's dig into errors and varieties, a world where everyday coins suddenly become fascinating rarities. While the presidential $1 series is not known for dramatic die errors like older coins, some intriguing varieties do exist for enterprising collectors. Mild die cracks, off-center strikes, and double dies have been reported, though they're uncommon. The best of these, especially if authenticated and graded, can significantly enhance a coin's collector value. A double die on the Washington portrait or a noticeable die crack crossing the lettering can transform a common $1 coin into a sought-after error piece. Now, let's address collector interest. Why do so many people gravitate toward this particular coin? The answer lies in a mix of history, accessibility, and sentiment. George Washington doesn't need an introduction. He's a narrative anchor in American history. Holding his image on a coin makes some collectors feel connected to the founding era. Add to that the fact that presidential dollars are affordable for beginners, yet offer depth for advanced collectors through condition rarity and minor errors, and you have a series that appeals to a wide audience. Many collectors pursue complete sets of the presidential series, which means they want one example of each president's dollar in a specific grade level, such as fine, extremely fine, uncirculated, or certified MS, mint state. Within these sets, the 2007 George Washington often becomes a sentimental favorite because it's the first. It's the leader of the procession. And like any first in a series, it carries psychological and historical weight. Whether you're just starting your collection or adding depth to an advanced registry, understanding the story behind the coin is crucial. The 2007 George Washington Presidential Golden Dollar isn't just another modern coin. It's a deliberate tribute to a foundational moment in American governance. Its design choices, historical resonance, and the way it launched a beloved series make it a cornerstone piece for any U.S. dollar collection. 2007 D$1 James Madison Satin Finish, position AMS coin 1809 to 1817, fine condition. Now that we've celebrated George Washington, let's continue this historical journey with the second coin in today's spotlight, the 2007 D. James Madison Presidential Dollar, Satin Finish, position A, in mint state, MS, and fine condition. Get ready, because James Madison's coin is a fascinating blend of historical gravitas, subtle beauty, and numismatic intrigue. Once again, we're in the heart of the presidential $1 coin program, which was designed to commemorate each U.S. president in order of service. James Madison, often called the father of the Constitution, was the fourth president, serving from 1809 to 1817, a period marked by foundational challenges and transformational events. Unlike some presidents whose legacies are distilled into a few iconic moments, Madison's contributions spanned the philosophical frameworks of American governance and the practical trials of leading a young nation through conflict. Madison's presidency is most often associated with the War of 1812, a defining test of U.S. resilience and autonomy. As tensions escalated between the United States and Great Britain over maritime rights and frontier pressures, Madison led the nation into war. Though the conflict had mixed military outcomes, it bolstered national identity and affirmed American resolve on the global stage. His role as a constitutional architect also resonates because Madison was central to drafting the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That blend of philosophical innovation and executive leadership makes him a particularly compelling figure to honor on a coin. Now, let's turn to the design features of the 2007 D. James Madison Presidential Dollar. On the obverse, Madison's portrait appears in a dignified profile, distinct from the Washington design. His image carries a thoughtful, intellectual expression, fitting for the thinker-statesman who grappled with constitutional design and wartime leadership. The inscriptions around the portrait include James Madison, his presidential years, 1809 to 1817, and the designation President, just as the program demands consistency across its designs. What makes this particular issue exciting for collectors is that it was released with a satin finish, position A, and in mint state, MS. Unlike typical business strike dollar coins, satin finish coins are struck with a softer, matte appearance that enhances detail while reducing reflective glare. The satin texture gives the surfaces an understated elegance that many collectors prize. In mint state condition, the coin has never been circulated, meaning its surfaces retain original luster and details without the abrasion typical of pocket circulation. Mint state and satin finish together make this coin aesthetically remarkable. When you examine the Madison portrait up close, the satin finish brings out fine lines in his hair, coat, and facial features with a subtle, refined contrast. The lettering remains crisp, and the field's flat background areas present a soft, glowing texture rather than mirror shine, a finish that's especially appealing under light. The reverse, consistent across the presidential series, showcases the Statue of Liberty, with United States of America, $1, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum. Although familiar from other presidential dollars, the satin finish gives the Statue of Liberty motif a fresh tactile quality. The folds of robes and flame details appear more sculptural and three-dimensional than they do on standard business strikes. Let's talk about mintage. While hundreds of millions of presidential dollars were produced overall, satin finish coins were released in significantly smaller quantities, often sold directly to collectors through mint sets rather than released into general circulation. The Denver Mint, denoted by the D mint mark, struck this piece, and satin finish versions tend to be scarcer in the marketplace than their business strike counterparts. Because these coins were marketed primarily to collectors, many remain in pristine condition, but that doesn't diminish their collectability. In fact, satin finish coins often command a niche following because they challenge the notion that modern coins lack variety and depth. Now, let's address market value. The 2007 D. James Madison Satin Finish in MS condition typically trades at higher premiums than standard business strikes. Because satin finish coins weren't widely circulated, and because mint state examples show original detail and texture, collectors often value them more highly. In today's market, a satin finish Madison dollar in MS grade can range from moderate premiums to more significant collector prices, often $15 to $40 or more depending on eye appeal, preservation, and whether the coin has been third-party graded. Higher certified grades, particularly MS 65 and above, can reach into more substantial territory, especially among collectors seeking complete satin finish presidential sets. Speaking of which, let's dig into errors, varieties, and collector enthusiasm. Presidential dollars are not typically associated with dramatic die varieties, but that doesn't mean interesting specimens don't exist. Satin finish varieties can show subtle die polishing lines, minor die clashes, and occasional die chips that create raised spots. While these are not as dramatic as major doubled dies, they are sought after by advanced collectors who specialize in modern errors. If a satin finish Madison coin shows a noticeable die anomaly, perhaps a weak strike area or a slight misalignment, it can attract additional interest and value. Collectors often scour large lots of coins precisely to find these subtle imperfections. Collector interest in this specific coin is robust for several reasons. First, James Madison is a deeply compelling historical figure. His contributions to the Constitution and leadership during the War of 1812 make him a favorite among history buffs. Second, the satin finish and MS condition elevate the coin beyond typical pocket change. It becomes an intentional collectible. Many numismatists aim to assemble complete presidential dollar sets in satin finish. And because these sets include coins from multiple mint locations and finishes, each piece adds depth to the overall collection. Beyond pure completion goals, some collectors focus on thematic pursuits. For example, collecting all presidential dollars of founding fathers, or all coins from the Denver Mint with satin finishes. In these niches, the 2007 D. Madison Satin Finish becomes more than just a coin. It's a centerpiece in a specialized assembly. Another fascinating aspect of Madison's coin is how it bridges classical and modern numismatics. On one hand, it's a contemporary issue with a clear date and mint mark. On the other hand, its celebration of an early American president ties directly back to the era of the Constitution and the early Republic, a period numismatists revisit through early U.S. copper and silver coins. In that sense, the Madison dollar acts as a modern ambassador between centuries of American coinage. So when you hold a 2007 James Madison Presidential Satin Finish MS coin in your hand, you're not just holding modern metal, you're holding a story. You're holding the intellectual force behind the Constitution's creation, the leader who steered the nation through war, and a specialized collectible that demonstrates how depth and beauty can exist even in modern numismatics. If you're building a presidential dollar collection, especially one focused on satin finishes or high grades, this Madison piece should absolutely be on your radar. Its historical resonance, aesthetic appeal, and collector demand make it a standout. 2007 Thomas Jefferson Presidential $1 coin 1801 to 1809. Fine condition. We begin with the 2007 Thomas Jefferson Presidential $1 coin, honoring the third president of the United States, who served from 1801 to 1809. Thomas Jefferson is one of the most influential figures in American history, and his presence on U.S. coinage has always carried special meaning. Long before this dollar coin, Jefferson was already immortalized on the 5-cent nickel, but the presidential $1 coin program gave him a new spotlight, one that reflects his role as a statesman, philosopher, and visionary leader of a young nation. The historical background of this coin is deeply rooted in the early 19th century. Thomas Jefferson was not only a president, but also the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, a diplomat, an architect, and a champion of democratic ideals. His presidency marked the first peaceful transfer of power between political parties in U.S. history, a moment that proved the strength of the American constitutional system. During his time in office, the nation doubled in size with the Louisiana Purchase, a bold decision that reshaped the future of the United States forever. When collectors hold this coin, they are holding a tribute to expansion, liberty, and intellectual leadership. The 2007 Thomas Jefferson Presidential $1 coin was released as part of the Presidential $1 coin program, which began in 2007 to honor U.S. presidents in the order they served. Jefferson was the third president featured that year, following George Washington and John Adams. This program was unique because it introduced a major change to U.S. coinage traditions. The date, mint mark, and mottos were placed on the edge of the coin instead of the obverse or reverse. This design choice alone makes these coins fascinating to collectors. In terms of design features, the obverse of the coin displays a bold and dignified portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing forward. Unlike the side-profile image seen on the Jefferson nickel, this design presents him head-on, giving the portrait a strong, commanding presence. His facial features are sharp, his expression calm yet intelligent, reflecting his reputation as a thinker and scholar. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions Thomas Jefferson, President, and the years of his presidency, 1801 to 1809. These inscriptions clearly anchor the coin in its historical context. The reverse of the coin features the iconic Statue of Liberty, a design shared across the presidential dollar series. Liberty stands tall, torch raised, symbolizing freedom, opportunity, and the enduring ideals of the United States. The inscriptions United States of America and $1 frame the design, reinforcing the coin's denomination and national identity. While the reverse design is uniform across the series, collectors often appreciate how different lighting and where patterns can subtly change its appearance. One of the most distinctive aspects of this coin lies on its edge lettering. The edge includes the year 2007, the mint mark, and the mottos E Pluribus Unum and In God We Trust. For collectors, edge lettering opens the door to one of the most exciting areas of presidential dollar collecting, errors and varieties. Edge lettering can be perfectly aligned, misaligned, doubled, missing entirely, or even inverted, and these variations can dramatically affect value. Now let's talk about mintage. The 2007 Thomas Jefferson Presidential Dollar was minted in very large numbers at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. millions of coins were produced to support circulation and collector demand. Because of this high mintage, the coin is not rare in general terms. However, mintage alone does not determine value. What truly matters is condition, eye appeal, and the presence of errors or varieties. In fine condition, this coin shows light where on the highest points of Jefferson's portrait, such as the hair and cheek areas, but all major details remain strong and visible. The lettering is crisp, the overall design is clear, and the coin still retains a pleasing appearance. Fine condition presidential dollars are becoming increasingly interesting to collectors because many of these coins entered circulation and were heavily used. Finding examples that avoided harsh wear is becoming more challenging as time passes. When we look at market value, a standard 2007 Thomas Jefferson Presidential dollar in circulated condition usually trades close to face value. However, fine condition examples can bring a small premium, often ranging from a few dollars depending on demand and presentation. Coins with attractive surfaces, minimal marks, and clear edge lettering tend to perform better. If the coin is professionally graded or shows an unusual edge lettering variety, values can rise significantly. This brings us to errors and varieties, one of the most exciting aspects of this coin. Early presidential dollars are famous for edge lettering errors. Some Jefferson dollars were released with missing edge lettering, making them instantly desirable to error collectors. Others show doubled or overlapping edge inscriptions, while some feature inverted lettering where the text appears upside down relative to the obverse. These errors were the result of the minting process, where edge lettering was applied separately from the main strike. Error examples can be worth many times face value, sometimes reaching tens or even hundreds of dollars depending on rarity and condition. Collector interest in the 2007 Thomas Jefferson Presidential dollar remains strong, especially among those assembling complete presidential sets. Jefferson's historical importance adds emotional and educational value to the coin, while the edge lettering varieties add an element of treasure hunting. Many collectors enjoy searching rolls or collections for subtle differences, making this coin an excellent gateway into modern U.S. numismatics. For beginners, it is accessible and affordable. For advanced collectors, it offers depth, varieties, and long-term potential. Ultimately, this coin represents more than just a dollar. It represents ideas, leadership, and a pivotal moment in American growth. In fine condition, it stands as a respectable collectible with historical weight and ongoing interest. As the presidential series continues to age, early issues like the Thomas Jefferson dollar are increasingly recognized as foundational pieces of modern U.S. coinage. 2001 Sacagawea dollar coin, fine condition. Now let's shift our focus to another iconic modern dollar coin that changed the look and feel of U.S. currency at the turn of the 21st century, the 2001 Sacagawea dollar coin. This coin is instantly recognizable for its golden color and powerful imagery, and it carries a story that blends exploration, cultural recognition, and innovation in American coin design. The Sacagawea dollar was introduced in the year 2000 as a replacement for the Susan B. Anthony dollar, which struggled with public acceptance due to its similarity in size and color to the quarter. The U.S. Mint wanted a coin that was bold, distinct, and meaningful. The result was the Sacagawea dollar, a coin that honored a Native American woman whose contributions to American history had long gone underappreciated. Sacagawea was a Shoshone woman who played a critical role as an interpreter and guide for the Lewis and Clark expedition in the early 1800s. Her knowledge of the land, languages, and survival skills helped the expedition navigate the vast and unfamiliar territories of the American West. By featuring her on a circulating U.S. coin, the Mint made a powerful statement about inclusion and historical recognition. The 2001 Sacagawea dollar represents the second year of this series and was struck at the Denver Mint. While the initial release of the Sacagawea dollar in 2000 was heavily promoted, public use of the coin declined quickly, leading to large numbers being stored rather than circulated. This makes later dates, including 2001 especially interesting because many coins never saw heavy circulation, yet true fine condition examples with natural wear patterns are still desirable. In terms of design features, the obverse of the coin is one of the most celebrated designs in modern U.S. coinage. It features a detailed portrait of Sacagawea carrying her infant son, Jean-Baptiste, on her back. The design is strong, dignified, and deeply human. Sacagawea gazes forward with determination, while her child looks outward, symbolizing hope, guidance, and the future. The inscription "Liberty" appears prominently, reinforcing the coin's symbolic meaning, along with the year 2001 and the motto, "In God We Trust." The reverse of the coin features a soaring bald eagle surrounded by 17 stars, representing the states of the Union at the time of the Lewis and Clark expedition. The eagle is powerful and dynamic, capturing motion and freedom. The inscriptions "United States of America" and $1 complete the design. The golden color of the coin, achieved through a manganese brass alloy, makes it instantly distinguishable from other U.S. coins. Now let's examine mintage. The 2001 Sacagawea dollar was minted in large quantities, with hundreds of millions produced. Despite this, most of these coins did not circulate heavily. Many were placed into storage, released in limited quantities, or saved by collectors and the public. Because of this unusual circulation pattern, condition plays a critical role in value. A fine-condition 2001 Sacagawea dollar shows light wear on Sacagawea's cheek, hair, and the eagle's wing feathers, but the overall design remains sharp and appealing. The golden surface often develops attractive toning over time, and coins with even color and minimal spotting are especially appealing to collectors. Fine-condition examples strike a balance between circulation history and preservation, making them interesting from both a historical and aesthetic standpoint. When it comes to market value, most 2001 Sacagawea dollars trade near face value in average circulated condition. However, fine-condition examples with strong eye appeal can command modest premiums. Coins with minimal contact marks, smooth surfaces, and rich color tend to perform better in the collector market. Uncirculated and certified examples bring higher prices, but even fine-condition coins are gaining attention as more collectors revisit early 21st century coinage. One of the most exciting areas of Sacagawea dollar collecting involves errors and varieties. The Sacagawea series is known for several dramatic and highly valuable errors. While the famous 2000 Cheerios dollar does not apply to the 2001 issue, there are still plenty of collectible errors to watch for. These include off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks. Some Sacagawea dollars also show striking errors that result in weak details or unusual surface textures. Collectors are especially drawn to coins with minting anomalies because they represent moments where the production process deviated from perfection. Even minor errors can add interest, while major errors can elevate a coin's value far beyond face value. Careful examination under good lighting can reveal details that transform an ordinary dollar into a standout collectible. Collector interest in the 2001 Sacagawea dollar remains steady and is slowly growing. As time passes, modern coins from the early 2000s are being reevaluated, much like coins from the 1960s and 1970s were in previous decades. Many collectors are now building complete Sacagawea dollar date and mint sets, and the Denver issues are an essential part of those collections. Beyond value, this coin carries cultural and historical significance that resonates deeply with many collectors. It represents exploration, cooperation, and the recognition of Native American contributions to U.S. history. In fine condition, the 2001 Sacagawea dollar is a beautiful and meaningful piece that bridges modern minting technology with timeless storytelling.